Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the Neca Gargoyles Silver Falcon Broadway. Now, this is basically a variant of Broadway with a trench coat on from the episode Silver Falcon. It's probably my least anticipated gargoyle figure so far, because it's a character we already have, and a look that's not necessary, but it's still pretty damn cool. This is part of Target's Haulathon. I got it at the Target app last week. Finally arrived today, so let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see, Neca presents the Silver Falcon. Disney's Gargoyles starring Broadway. Here he is on the front, Broadway in his trench coat on top of another gargoyle. One side of the package, here's Broadway, trench coat opened up. Other side, Broadway, trench coat and hat. At the bottom, there is the barcode, in case that helps anybody. In the back, here's Broadway. Here's a bunch of different display options, a bunch of different accessories, and here is a checklist of a bunch of other gargoyle figures out there. This is one of NECA's ultimate figures. Window box packaging. Here are the Velcro as I open it up. On the inside flap, we have Broadway posed up, ready to go. And then here he is in the package. Ton of accessories, a lot of food items, removal coat, swappable hands and heads, etc. So with no further ado, let's open him up. Alright, now that this figure out of the package, here he is with all the accessories laid out. He comes with quite a bit of good stuff, as most of the Gargoyles releases do. He's got the relaxed folded wings, he has a removable hat, cloth soft goods removable trench coat, 3 alternate hands, totaling 5 interchangeable hands, a total of 3 heads, 4 different food items, and then his tail. Before I take a look at all that, let's talk about and check out the figure. So this is Detective Broadway, or Trenchcoat Broadway, from the episode Silver Falcon. Broadway sort of took it upon himself to partner up with Elisa and find the missing Matt Bluestone. Leads to a bunch of different shenanigans, activities, gangs, etc. This is the first variant of Broadway they've made, and I imagine we'll get some more in the future. I would love to see a similar type figure. Brooklyn with trench coat, sunglasses, and helmet. They could do a lot of cool stuff. So let's take a look at him. Starting with his face, signature Broadway look. Kind of goofy, he's got the teeth sticking out. He's got the sort of fedora and trench coat. Detective Broadway. I mean, like, this is really going to hide that he's a gargoyle if he's walking around. It's ridiculous. Kind of like the Ninja Turtles, but it kind of makes it fun too. Cloth soft goods. It looks okay. I feel like the Raphael and Ninja Turtles is a little better, but I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. We have the sort of rope to tie it, open it up, got Broadway on the inside. Holes for the wings. It is a very cool idea. I actually really love police action figures, and I love Gargoyles action figures, so Detective Broadway is right up my alley. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. Eyes look a little bit wonky. He's got the chubby face, blue skin, big ears, kind of goofy look to him, signature Broadway. And here's the figure, broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Let's check out the accessories. Let's start off with his hands. He has a total of 5 hands. 2 right hands and 3 left hands. Here's Broadway with his first pair of hands. These are his fists. Then, with his aggressive hands, these could be some clawing, climbing, grabbing, fighting hands. And he has one final left hand. This is a large gripping hand. Here are his heads. He has 3 of them. The one on the left, his eyes are wide open. He's surprised. The one in the middle, pretty normal expression. And the one on the right, he's angry. His eyes are glowing. Mouth is open. He's growling. Here's his first head. This one has the eyes wide open. Here's his second head. This one has the most normal expression. And then the third head, the angry growling head. He also has his hat. Sort of an old school fedora, detective type hat. Brown, kind of pushed up on one side. You can see where the horns on his head will fit in. Here's Broadway without the hat, and here with the hat attached. It works on any of the 3 heads. Now to attach the tail. He's got this long blue tail. It's got a peg that'll plug into sort of rear end area. Rubbery, you can see the holes, allow it to breathe, and it has a bendy wire. Here's Broadway with the tail attached. The tail itself can rotate, and it's hinged. Now, the tail can be kind of nice as a bendy wire, and it can really make it easy to stand up your figures. And while we're on the subject of standing up the figures, make sure you have their feet right. This is the easiest way to stand them up, having their feet flat, but that is not how they walked in the show. In the show, you take the foot, stretch out like that, then put the toes as low as you can. Once you have both the feet that way, that is how a gargoyle stands in the show. Sort of on top of their toes with the talon part up in the air. It makes your figure a little bit taller and harder to stand up, but with the tail, they're supported and so easy. Now let's look at the wings. These are the cloaked or caped wings. The original release came with hard plastic outstretched wings, which makes the figure really, really big and sort of hard to manage. Also, they tend to sag over time. I would much prefer these type of wings, although my ideal pick would be some relaxed wings that are behind them, not outstretched. Hopefully we'll get something in the future. Once we have these, Hudson's the only one we don't have relaxed wings for. As you can see, sort of black on the outside with a purple tint to it, scaly, shiny. On the inside, it's green, similar effect, sculpt, paint job. Very nice. It's got his teal color around the edges. It's rubbery, has some give to it. A couple of pegs to attach into his back. Here's Broadway with those wings on. Finally got Broadway with wings that isn't super giant and massive. The way I'll probably display these figures, I'll give these wings to the original Broadway, and this guy will have the trench coat on. Although you do have the option to have both. Here he is with the outstretched wings that came with the original release of Broadway. The wings are made of hard plastic. They look really nice and gives him a sort of presence on the shelf, but just takes up so much space you can't really put them next to the other gargoyles without covering each other up. I've had pretty good success with Broadway. His wings are still pretty tight and don't sag. Now for his trench coat. Made of cloth soft goods. As a whole, looks pretty good. It's a little bit wrinkled. Not too bad. This thing has a bendy wire to sort of hold it in place if you tie it together. Wings will stick out to the back. Pretty cool trench coat. I like cloth soft goods, but they can be either really good or really bad. Here's Broadway with the trench coat on. You can have it open, or you can have it tied shut in the front. It definitely looks better this way. Now, I said cloth soft goods can be really good, or they can be really bad. This one's good, but it's not great. It's a little bit bulky, a little bit wrinkled. And I get he's a gargoyle. He's very oddly built. It has to be kind of big and bulky to be able to fit over him and stuff. In fact, a little bit wrinkled is kind of annoying because it's probably always going to be that way. Still, it's really cool to have. I can probably use it for other figures. And it's nice to have a couple different display options for this guy. Now you can put the cloaked wings on top of the trench coat, but it's not supposed to be this way. In the show, he had the trench coat on top of his wings, sort of hiding that he was a gargoyle. The holes in the back are actually intended to use the previous set of wings. That way, and he's sort of able to glide and outstretch when he's about to fight with the coat on. Then we have his various food items. I believe this is a jar of jalapenos. It's sort of a thing throughout the show. Goliath eats one, screams, jalapeno, jalapeno, and then they do it throughout the show. They're loose inside of here. As you can hear that, I'm sure it's a little bit annoying. Then we have some Chinese food. Nice detailed accessory. Got the chopsticks, food in there. We have a sandwich with a bite taken out of it. Very nice texture on the bread. Nice detail. And then we have what I believe is a pot of chili. It's got the ladle in there, big pot. Broadway, big fat gargoyle, as you can tell, loves to eat. He can hold the Chinese food with his large hand. And here, holding the sandwich, about to bite into it. And that's about the best you're going to get with him holding the pot of chili. Well, you can use his clawing hands. Kind of holds them. And I guess you can sort of balance and sort of hold this thing as well. Now I wanted to check out the differences between Detective Broadway and the original Broadway release. Here they both are. It's 100% the same figure, same sculpt, same articulation. And they both have sort of different accessories. This guy has some different heads. This guy had like a gripping hand the new one didn't come with. Paint pretty much the same. I mean, it's ever so slightly lighter on him. But like I said, everything's the same. It's all the accessories that makes the difference. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at the figure and his accessories, let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing right at about 7 inches tall, which can translate to around 18 centimeters. And if you go to the top of the horns on his head, about 7.1 inches tall. And for his articulation, starting with his head, of course, it can rotate from side to side. He can look up and down about that far. Can tilt his head from one side to the other. Shoulders on a ball joint goes out quite a bit less than 90 degrees. Up, down, around. Bicep cut, pretty limited there too. Double jointed elbows, they go in this far. His wrists can rotate, and it's hinged. His torso, he's got a ball joint. Rotate from side to side, forward and back a little bit. Another one in his waist, rotate around, forward and back, not too much. Kind of limited. He's a big fat guy and everything's really tight. Legs complete as splits, ball joints. There's rotation independent of the ball. Legs go forward that much, back about that far. He has a single jointed knee. They go in a little bit more than 90 degrees with rotation. His ankle, forward and back, tilt rock, then his toes, forward and back, also tilt rock at least a little bit. And his tail, we got the bendy wire, and rotate. It's also hinged. Here's a look at Broadway in the kitchen, eating everything. Here's Detective Broadway and Detective Elisa Mazza, partners. Here's a look at Broadway, angry, screaming, wings busting through the jacket. A closer look at Detective Broadway. Now let's check them out, next to some other action figures, starting off with some other Gargoyles figures. Here's Detective Broadway with the trench coat, next to the original release. I took these new cloaked wings and put them onto the original release, and this is how I'm going to display my two figures. Here's Detective Broadway, next to Detective Elisa Mazza, partners in this episode. I hope they give us a Matt Bluestone in the near future. Here he is, next to both Goliath and Hudson. Then, next to Lexington at Brooklyn. Like I said before, I hope they give us the leather jacket variation of Brooklyn. And now, with Angela and Bronx. I guess Angela also doesn't have the cloaked wings, but since I got an extra Xanatos figure, I had an extra set of Damona's wings that work for Angela. Here's the entire Manhattan clan, with their cloaked wings. We do still need a pair for Hudson the most, and Angela, but they can actually stand next to each other, with wings, and it looks really good. Here's Detective Broadway, next to the most recent Neca Gargoyles release. This is the Goliath and Damona Vows 2-pack. And here, next to Xanatos in his gargoyle armor, and a Steel Clan robot. And I did get 6 of those Steel Clan robots. It's an awesome figure, and it's the only army builder in the Gargoyles line. The only humans they've made so far is Elisa Mazza and David Xanatos. We really need Owen. We have Macbeth coming. I want Matt Bluestone. I can name probably 50 more humans I'd love for this line. At least the characters are starting to round out. Here's the entire NECA Gargoyles collection. Shaping up pretty nicely. Good character selection. We have the majority of the main characters covered at this point. I believe the next one to come out is going to be Coldstone, then Macbeth, and then Gabriel. Can't wait for Coldstone. He's one of my favorite characters. There are so many other characters I want them to make, but at this point, I'd say please give us Owen and Matt Bluestone. Please give us the mutates and the clones. Those are my top ones. I'd also really like the pack in human form. And I can go on for the 15 minutes about all the characters I want, all the different variations. But those would be my top choices if I could pick. Here's NECA's Gargoyles Broadway with the trench coat and hat. Next to NECA's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Raphael in the same sort of disguise. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in, both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a NECA figure, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work way smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his NECA brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from NECA Toys, all 7-inch scale. And now, with some Jack-specific wrestling figures, and some DST or Diamond Select toys. Here's Broadway, next to a container of Buffalo Ranch. And here he is, with some McFarlane and DC Direct figures. Then, with both some Mattel and Jazzwares wrestling figures. And now, with some Mezco and Mattel DC figures. Next, with some Mafex and Hasbro Marvel Legends. And finally, next to some SH figure arts and some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, it is a pretty cool Broadway figure. It's a variant that makes perfect logical sense and is show accurate. Now, I don't enjoy this guy nearly as much as the original Broadway because that was filling a new character in my Gargoyles collection. But, like I said, it's a cool variant. I really like police and detective figures, so it's right up my alley. His accessories are plentiful, all the food items, of course, the cloth soft goods trench coat. His articulation is pretty nice, a little bit sort of bulky and limited in certain areas, but it's a very odd, ill-built type character. Sculpt and paint job are excellent, no issues there, although it's pretty much all reuse. If I were to rate this guy, it's a fair figure, but I do prefer the regular version of Broadway. I'll give this guy a 7 out of 10. It's a fun figure. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.